What were we doing? Oh yeah, to do. Check if this needs more. This needs more. Okay, so this custom method. Yeah, I love those emotes. They're great. And thanks all for coming to the stream today, hanging out. The more the merrier. Questions are great too, as we go. But yeah, so what are we doing here? So we have this idea of, in the UI for this, we have a stream record, right? And you can say, oh, transcribe everything that was said in the stream into text. And that triggers like any background task. And we want to be able to click a button and say, hey, what's the status of that task? And so the front end component over here is going to grab the data provider from React Admin. We will have to add the code to do that here in a sec. It's going to run this method, and it's going to pass the task URL that it has, that it checked that it exists here. It's going to pass that in, and then we're just going to fetch it. It's just a it's a GET request, so we can just call fetch with the URL, and we get a result, and that result should be JSON. And maybe we just return that as is. I think that should be fine. Yeah, I don't think we need anything more here. And then we just need to have the just. I use just a lot. Too much, or at least I'm aware of it. But we need the data provider. And then when we check status, what we want to do is we want to call our custom method on the data provider. Let's see, get, what did I call it? What did, actually, I guess it was Copilot that named it. And I was like, okay, that's a fine name. And we need, yeah, that, but only one argument. And I guess this will be easiest if this is an async function. Right, then we can use a wait. So it can be like const task equals, that's not where the equal sign is, it's over there. Wait. There we go. And then we need to do something. I guess really, there is a status field on the task. Okay, so one of the things we have to make sure to do is that all of our uses of hooks need to be before the first conditional. So up here we'll do a thing that's going to keep the state of basically the status of the task. Hey Jake, welcome. How's it going? How's your morning going? Let's see, so we want a task status. Yeah, set task status, React use state, string or null. I guess that's fine. No, it'll just be string. And we'll do something like this, use state. So do we want to have string or null here? Maybe we do. Because null would represent, like, we've not yet acquired the task status. Okay, the pipe character's there. That's good. Null. I think that's good. Let's also import use state. Add that to our. So I think we should be able to just like do this. Yep. How do we? But maybe we just want to show the task status. Like literally just show. what does that look like? So if we go back to our API, where is that? It's the task work. Does the task worker own the status things? Or are we just putting like strings in? How does that work? Because we do update the status of the task worker. Okay. So we're just putting a string because we're just talking to Redis here. In the first 2 minutes of being awake. Well, you just gotta... Yeah, there you go. Got all the bad stuff out of the way. I think I spent maybe less time than usual this morning, but I saw Marksy was streaming, and so I was sitting in bed watching Marksy for a bit, waking up before doing anything. I guess I could have dropped my phone when I went over to turn off the alarm, but it's got a case, so it's pretty sturdy. What am I looking for? I'm looking for something that's going to tell me the different the values. But at least we can see it's going to be a string, it's going to be lowercase. We could just show that. But maybe I want to have something like, oh, so I had a morning too. No, it was great. Marksy's back on Twitch and playing Fortnite, which I like better. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Fortnite, but I think it, honestly, the roleplay GTS 8 stuff is maybe a little cringy. In my opinion, from me. That's not a value judgment. And other people like other things, but it's a little bit more action-packed. The Night of Forts. So I bought Power World. Was that yesterday? Yeah, I think yesterday. I've been seeing it everywhere, except yeah. Well, anyway, so I was gonna try that at some point. As I mentioned in my in the Discord for the stream, for the channel, for the community. Do I want to have like a translation function? I don't know. I was waiting to see if there was any, if anyone had interest in seeing that. Maybe. I don't know when I would though. Unless I wanted to. I guess really the only. I like not streaming on Saturday because it gives me a chance to like watch other streams and do stuff that I can do while I have streams, you know, happening, like doing video editing and stuff. I guess I could have a like an after lunch stream today, but it would be, I don't know. The thing is that the thing with extra streams is I'm like the streams that I'm doing now, streaming 4 days a week. I have kept that schedule pretty well for like 9 months. So I don't want to mess with that. And I don't want to, I like the stuff that we're playing right now. We're almost done with Oxygen Not Included. And I've already said that we're probably going to switch over to Mind Over Magic on that day. Still lots to do in Cyberpunk. Not going to be done anytime soon. And we're just getting started in Great Tech. We got like years of that. So I don't know. Anyway, what am I doing? I was trying to decide how I wanted to translate the task status, which is going to be a string. It's going to be like pending or in progress or complete, and then actually show that, right? Probably the way I would like to do that is to be like, let's make a component. Yeah, let's make a component called task status, and this could be useful other places as well. And having a component like this is going to allow us to then really customize what's going on with it. In terms of like, we could have like, it's in progress, show a little like spinning animation, have various styling, rather than like, I could just, I could take task status here. What did I just press? That was undo. Okay, so there we go. And I could just do this and just dump the text of it out, but I don't want to do that. So instead, that. String or null is not assigneable to type string. So if we don't have a task status yet, then maybe we just don't show this, or we change this to also accept null. I think we'll make it also accept null. Nui. There we go. And then what we can do is we can say switch. And I think those are actually the right statuses. Queued, running, completed, failed. And default, we return null, which won't show anything. And then data ready, we're going to be able to figure out what that is, because we can just say if task status is completed, then the data is ready. Is loading. Do we actually need that? I guess we could do that. Is this right? Is using the data provider like this, is that gonna work? I think so. Before we were wrapping it in a use mutation. It's a lot of extra. I don't know if that's necessary, or if we can just like call it directly. Hey, Lady Versailles. Welcome. How's your morning been going? And I love the emote. Lots of great animated emotes out there. that is one of them. I'm doing well. Trying to figure things out as I do. I think this might actually be good now, right? So basically, when this component renders, we're gonna say, okay, if we don't have a record or there wasn't a pending task, so we haven't triggered anything, then we just do nothing. Nothing shows up in that part of the UI. Oh yeah, so is loading. I guess we want to have is loading work. Like we want to make it so that when you click the button to check the status, it's gonna disable the button until the status checking is done. So to make that happen, we're just gonna use another useState hook. So this is a good guess for how this would work from Copilot, but not what I'm looking for. That's the one. So by default, we're not loading. When we, just before we make the network request, we'll say as loading is true. And then I guess we do need a try, because if we do get an error, we want to catch that error. Yeah. Move set task status inside. I don't know if we want to set the task status to failed if we fail to retrieve it. I think we want to. Is there a let's check the React admin docs. There might be something appropriate that we could do from the React admin side to show that there was an error. Keys. This is it. Common hooks. Use notify. So something like this. You can just do like e dot something. Just pass e. And then, so in order to be able to use notify, we need that, need to use the hook for it. Notify. Use notify, which we'll have to import as well from React admin. And then it's not happy about that. Argument type unknown. It's not assignable to parameter of type React node. Right. So let's do something like there we go, and there, and we let's see. We want to say something like failed to get task status. And then missing a curly brace. There we go. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to say that is loading is false. Yeah, that all should be good. Once we save, it'll auto format. And there we go. So if there's any kind of error, this gets run and then we just continue running. So we'll always set loading to false, regardless of whether it succeeds or fails. Also, I figured out what I was seeing in the corner of my eye from earlier, which is the statuses in Discord of people coming and going, being online and offline. Anyway, okay, so that gets us to the point where we can at least see the status of the task, which is good. Okay, so when we load data, we are going to have a new... How's this going to work? Oh no, we're not going to need a new custom method in data provider. What we're going to do on load data is we're going to interact with the parent form. Yeah. So let's take a note of this. To do into form, and we also want to clear the task URL. Now that's not going to actually save anything until the user clicks save on the record, but that's going to load in the transcription segments with all the transcript information from the stream, and it's going to clear the field, the hidden field inside, because I don't think we're showing it in the UI, right? The task, no, okay. So it's going to clear that field out so that if we come back to here, check stat, like this stuff won't show up because there won't be a pending task. Okay, so I think we have enough now to save, and we'll go back into Docker and restart. BRB going to switch to computer. All right. All right, so we have that. And then if I refresh this page, this error is normal. That error is not normal. What happens here? No, that's to do with Vite. What about this? Use data provider. HTTP error not found. Let's go over to the network tab. What's going on over here? Okay, that's all fine. I think that's fine. So we had already previously, in the last stream, started a transcription several times. So this record does have a task URL associated with it. That's what we're looking at over here. Very tiny text. I can bring this up. There we go. So there's transcription segments from at least part of one of the previous streams. And so, that. Let's see, let's zoom back out a little bit. No. This is a good view. So if we check status, all right, so that made a request to 13. Is that? Yeah, that is the same one here, right? So we get this. We get a response. It has a status of complete. Why is it capitalized? Why is it capitalized? It shouldn't be. Interesting. And that shows up like this here. Yeah, okay. So that's a problem because we're looking at in our task status, we're looking for completed, and it's complete with a capital C. So that's, whoops. Okay. 1 second. I gotta put all my windows back.
Our struggle as artists isn't about.
I need to figure out how to turn off the thing that if you shake the window, it minimizes all of all windows, because that is a problem. Where's OBS? Oh yeah, it's in the tray. Okay. Oof.
To study our perception.
All right, what am I missing? My Twitch. There we go.
That wave isn't necessarily a thing.
Okay, so how did we end up with complete? Right, so I'm pretty sure what's supposed to set the status is the task worker, and we were just looking at that a minute ago. Well, a few minutes ago.
like water.
This source code here, right? So we set the value to complete. So I feel like maybe... Okay, also complete, not completed. What did we do here? Okay, so this is wrong. It should be complete. But it's still not going to work because... capitalization matters. Where else are we setting status here? Failed. Okay. Processing. See, it should be processing here. I'm pretty sure it is queued, but to see that we would need to look in the task API because that's where the task is getting created. In the create handler. Somewhere. Status queued. That's what we're putting into Redis. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And we have an enum. Queued processing failed complete. So... Wait. I see. So when we... So that the value actually is lowercase in Redis. And what we're doing is we're translating those values into our enum to kind of guarantee what the possible values are that we're going to return, or we throw an error. I say throw, but we return an error. But that means that the default serialization for our enum is going to capitalize. Okay. So this is what effectively defines the API. So I guess what we should be doing... Again, this is a thing where it would be nice if we could like convert the types in Rust into TypeScript types. So we have type checking here. But we don't. In the meantime, I'll make a little space, and we'll bring this over, and we'll just make sure everything lines up. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Okay, so now the UI is going to look for the things that the API is going to provide, and that's pretty important. You know, just if we want things to work. Okay, so we changed the UI again. Let's restart the front end. So we did complete our follower goal of 150 followers about 3 hours ago, before it actually went live even. I guess we can have a new follower goal. What should our new follower goal be? Double it? 300? Might take a minute. What is Elixio? Let's see if we can catch it. Whatever it is. Status. Okay. Immediately. Task completed. So that works. Again, we need to like consolidate this little bit of UI maybe into like a bar. Would be nice. I don't really like it spread out like this. Ooh, we both caught it. Nice. So this button should be enabled now. Why is it not? Oh, right. So the data is ready if the task status is complete with a capital C. That would be why. That's fine. Okay, so we know that's gonna be true, given what we just saw. So that's gonna enable the button. We'll be able to click on the button to load the data. So how do we actually get the data in? We have an example, right? Because we already have this implemented for video clips. The difference is for video clips, it's asynchronous, but not asynchronous using the task worker. So like you click the button, it makes the call, it waits for the response that has all of the list of video clips it found for the stream, and it just dumps it into the form. So we want to do the same thing, except we had extra steps here. So we can just like, I think we should be able to just like copy paste in this code. Whoops, don't need breakpoint. Somewhere in here, I guess inside of our load data. Okay, notify not implemented yet. Cool. Not what I want to do. What we want to do is figure out what we're doing. So I think we want to do something similar. We're going to define an interface just to make it a little less error prone. I want to do an interface for I called it an entry over here, but we could do like a segment. Yep. Start, end, and text. I don't think that's quite right. And I think they all need to be strings. What are we returning? And I think they're all strings. In the case of start and end, so this is representing like a segment of time in which there was some text, some speech that's been transcribed. And start and end are ISO 8601 durations. So they're a string representation representing some amount of time. And then text is just the text that was transcribed. And I think that is the shape of the data that we need to put into our form. We definitely need a form context. So we'll grab that. That's going to allow us to get at the form that this component is inside of. And then we also need to get the data from the task. We'll actually have the data from the task. We're just not saving it right now. Like right now, we're just saving the task status. So you could probably just change this to store the whole task. And we need this bit here, form context.setValue. Figure out what values is supposed to be. Yeah, something like that. Const values equals, oh, not quite, AR, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. I guess this is going to be a segment array. There we go. And we want to take a source. That's going to tell us where in the form. Do we want to do that? Basically, here, props.source represents the location in the record where we are setting the values in. Is it going to make sense to pass in a source like that? Yeah, here we pass in a source. And this then in turn comes from... Yeah, I think that'll be good. Yeah, so we'll pass in a source. So, in other words, Stream's transcript input is being used inside of edit, this edit view. And, all right, we changed this around. It doesn't have a source. It has a data and a task and a label. Okay. We changed how this works versus over here, the stream video clips input has a source. Yeah, okay. Great. I'm glad I thought about that for a minute. So that will be that. I'm still going to call it source though. We don't need props.source. We're going to just take it in like this. I'm going to say source. Which is a string. It's basically just the field in the form that we're putting the results into. We also need to import use form context, which is coming from React hooked form, which is what React admin uses for its forms. There we go. And so this is at least, it's not going to do everything we want yet, but it is at least going to work. It's not going to fail. It's not going to give us errors. There we go. That is a true statement, I think. Of course, what it's going to do is we're going to be able to click the load data button, and it's just going to put an empty list of segments, which is what we already have, so it's going to do nothing. Unless we had values in, like manually put them in, and then I think it would clear them. The other thing we want to do is we want to do what we said we wanted to do here, to clear the task URL. Was that one of the parameters to the, it is task. Okay, cool. Be back in a minute. All right, I'll be here. So what do we could call this something like, I think task is too brief of a name for this. This should be like task URL field name, I think is a better, like more explicit name. I mean, the same thing can be said for source, but that's more of a convention with React admin, although we broke from convention down here where we're taking data. Although we're renaming it to be source. Actually, for that matter, right. How is form iterator getting data? Well, it's not. I guess we need to do this. What did we do in the other component? No, I don't think we need to do that. But I think it is going to be source here, not data. Right? Because I think array input is going to copy its props onto form iterator. Like, otherwise form iterator wouldn't have props.source here. But obviously it does. So form iterator is going to have as one of its props being passed in source, because source is one of the props passed to array input. Source is actually just data renamed. So from the perspective of form iterator, it is going to be props.source. Okay. Now, that does mean, I think... Now, I'm not sure. Can we look at the definition of array input? So what is field props is array root array input context dot provider value clone element children record resource source. So it's not necessarily copying all props, it's copying specific props for React Admin. So I think what we need to do, if we need different props being passed in here to make it all the way down in, we need to do that explicitly. Right, so here we're passing in task, and it's the transcription task URL. I guess we're not actually using that. It doesn't look like we are. I think that was something that I was going to have be provided. I guess we can carry on with that. So for that to happen, we actually need to pass in task. Oops. Control Z. So we want to grab task here so that it doesn't. So it's not in our catch-all, right? And then the name we wanted to use was. Oh, I said it, but I didn't type it. What did I say? Something like task URL field name. Because I feel that's what I wanted to use. And we could have it have a default, but string. A sting. It's not a thing. Alright. So we can just like work that back up. So we're gonna say this is task. I mean, honestly, if we're doing all this, maybe we should just like we control what this is called, right? So let's give it a more meaningful name here. Task URL field name. That is what that is. Control R is not what I wanted to type. Control S, please. There we go. And so we get that up here. And that means now that we have this and we know what the name of the field is, and it's configurable like that, now we don't need to hard code it here either. Instead, I can remember where square brackets are. And there we go. And we can use this instead. Right, and then we can use that there as well. Oops. No. Control Z. Control Z. I copied the wrong thing. There we go. Twitch is funny. It's like, okay, we have 150 followers. It suggests that the next goal should be 160 followers. That's not a fun goal at all. So I'm going to set a new goal. Our new goal is going to be to hit 200 followers. There we go.
Followers. Goal started.
And that'll be an accomplishment. Getting 10 more doesn't feel like much of an accomplishment, you know? So, anyway. Let's see. We got... Is that sound coming from the track? Oh, it is. Okay. Right, so we wanted to... The whole point of that, getting the name of the field, I guess it was hard-coded before. We could have just, went through that. But we spent the time before to get it, so why not, carry through on the idea, right? It looks like we can maybe just spread props here. That is a thing we could do, but I think I'll do it this way. Props dot the same thing. Okay. So then that kind of carries through the idea of passing in the task URL field name. And we can use that to be able to say, hey, okay, now clear that field. Like so. And maybe this works. Setting it to null. I don't know. We're going to find out. So this at least gives us something that we can test. And we'll be able to test it multiple times as long as we don't save the form. Right? Because this doesn't change, this doesn't make it save it to the backend. This just changes, this is like you going into the form and, manipulating, like clearing fields and adding stuff or removing stuff, but not saving it. And the rationale for that, I think we could probably just say, hey, go ahead and save the form. Although if we were going to do that, maybe we would just call the API and like save it directly. But by having it pending, then the user can review and verify everything looks right before they save. So it's a feature and not a bug. Because that is often the difference, right? Is what we want to happen, what our intent is. If we intend it to be one thing, and it's another, then that's a bug. Even if both could be useful, you gotta understand what the user wants. And in this case, I'm the user. So it's whatever I want. Okay, so we check results, check status rather. Task completed, it enables the button. We click the button, it says, oh, something changed. We don't see anything changing, right? If we were to add a thing here, we would say 1, 2, test, right? Maybe add one more, 2, 3, test, and then we load results. Hey, it wipes them out. It works. right. That's great. So implement a component to check the status of the task. We did that. Now, when the task is done, display the result. So we almost have that. What we need to do now is take the, oh yeah. So instead of saving just the task status, because like we're getting the task back from the backend by calling get transcription task, but right now we're just saving the status. So if we change this to be like, okay, we'll set the task, and this will be the task, and then this is going to be a thing. It's going to be a task, whatever that is, or null. And then what we want to do is wherever we're using task status, we'll use task dot status. Yep. Now that doesn't mean here. Let's rename this so we don't have a conflicting name. And we'll do that, and we'll just change the wording of this slightly. And we do need to define what a task is. Let's see, if I go up here. Hey, all right. There's more to it though, right? We have, we can see in Postman, right? Or no, in the browser. Yeah, here we go. We can see there's a data, ID, and a status. So what we can do is we can take this and we can derive what the type is. Right, so we have a status. We could be more explicit with this as well. So it could be like, okay, this is a queued or processing or complete or failed. And then we have an ID, which is a string. And then we have a data, which is, is it a segments array? I guess it effectively, yeah, it is a segments array. Or a segment array. Like that. All right, so now we have a type for task, but task is possibly null, right? So now that we actually have a type for things, it's going to warn us, hey, you've not thought this completely through. Task could be null. So if it's not equal to null, nui, and task is complete, or alternatively, we could do something like this. There we go. That should work. We have another error here. Task is possibly null. If it's null, then we can just pass that null through. But it could also be undefined. But that should also be fine. All right, we're gonna take a break here just for a few minutes so I can top off my water. And when we come back, we can finish this and maybe move on to the silence detection version of the same thing. Maybe see what we can kind of generalize. I don't know, we'll see.